What would you do if a 9-year-old boy in patched-up shoes said he could heal your child? And he was right. That chilly Birmingham morning wasn't cold enough for snow, but it made your breath visible and your fingers ache. People hurried in and out of the Children's Medical Center, wrapped in scarves, gripping coffee cups, moving like they could escape whatever tragedy brought them there. But one person sat still on flattened cardboard near the entrance, quietly sketching in a worn notebook. Ezekiel Zeke Carter was just 9. His oversized coat had rolled up sleeves, and duct tape held one boot together. A red beanie sat low on his forehead. He never begged or asked for help, just watched people come and go. He'd been there most Saturdays. Hospital staff had tried removing him initially, but eventually gave up. Zeke caused no trouble, smiled when spoken to, and when he wasn't drawing, he was observing. Across the street, a dark silver Range Rover idled by a fire hydrant. Inside sat Jonathan Reeves, late 40s, with sharp features and graying temples. His expensive car gleamed under the hospital lights, but he looked exhausted. In the back seat, his 6-year-old daughter, Isla, sat in her booster chair, brown curls tucked behind one ear, legs covered by a pink blanket. Her eyes were wide but silent. The accident had changed everything. One moment she was climbing trees and racing cousins. The next, she was paralyzed from the waist down, sitting in silence. Jonathan carefully lifted Isla and carried her toward the entrance. He didn't notice Zeke initially, but Zeke noticed him. Saw how Jonathan held her like she might shatter, how her eyes avoided the building. Just before they passed, Zeke stood and called out, "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." Jonathan stopped, not from offense, but because of how the words were spoken, not like a sales pitch or joke, but soft, clear, and serious, like Zeke believed it completely. "What did you just say?" Jonathan's eyes narrowed. Zeke stepped forward, tucking his notebook away. "I said I can help her walk again." Jonathan stared, tightening his grip on Isla. "That's not funny, kid." "I wasn't joking." Zeke's voice didn't waver. No smile, just that quiet tone, a grown-up stillness in a child's body. Jonathan looked at Zeke's clothes, his taped boot, the cracked glasses hanging from his collar. This had to be some weird coincidence, maybe a scam. He walked inside without another word, but couldn't stop thinking about it, the way the kid said it, not with hope or doubt, but like it was fact. During Isla's appointments, Jonathan sat through updates from therapists and specialists, all using the same phrases. Managing expectations. Long road ahead. Miracles take time. But Zeke's words kept echoing. "I can make your daughter walk again." By afternoon, Jonathan and Isla emerged from the building. The sun had broken through clouds, but the cold remained sharp. Walking toward the car, he noticed Zeke again. Same box, same notebook, but this time looking right at Jonathan like he knew he'd return. Jonathan hesitated, glanced at Isla resting on his shoulder, then walked over. "You again. Why would you say something like that? You think this is funny?" Zeke shook his head slowly. "No, sir." "You don't even know her?" Jonathan snapped, gently placing Isla in the back seat. "You don't know what she's been through." "I don't have to know her to help," Zeke replied. "You're what, 9? Almost 10. You're a little boy sitting outside a hospital with duct tape on your shoes. What could you possibly know about helping someone like my daughter?" Zeke looked down, fingers tracing his notebook. "My mama used to help people walk again. She was a physical therapist. She taught me stuff. She said the body remembers things even when it forgets for a while." Jonathan's skepticism hardened. "So you watched her do some stretches, and now you think you're a doctor?" "I watched her help a man walk after being in a chair for 5 years, Zeke said, eyes lifting. She didn't have machines or nurses, just her hands, her patience and faith. Jonathan noticed a nurse wave at Zeke, a janitor nod in his direction. They all seemed to know him. "I'm not giving you money," Jonathan said. "I didn't ask for money." "Then what do you want?" Zeke took a deep breath. "Just 1 hour. Let me show you." Jonathan looked back at Isla, who was watching them quietly. He sighed, rubbing his nose. "I should walk away right now. I should call security." Zeke stayed silent. "Fine. Meet us at Harrington Park tomorrow, noon. Don't be late." "I'll be there," Zeke nodded. That evening, Jonathan sat in his office, papers scattered across his desk. He kept thinking about how Zeke stood there like he knew something. Isla poked her head in. "Daddy, who was that boy?" "Just somebody we met outside the hospital." "He looked like he believed it," she said. "Believed what?" "That I could walk?" She smiled. Barely, walking her fingers across her wheelchair's armrest like legs. For the first time in months, something inside Jonathan didn't feel numb. It felt dangerous, like hope. Harrington Park was the kind of place most people passed without noticing. Cracked basketball court, squeaky swings, patchy grass trying to be a soccer field. Sunday at noon, it was usually empty. But Zeke was already there on the bench by the big oak tree. Same oversized jacket, but his notebook was tucked away. Instead, he had a small gym bag and a folded towel. At 12:07, Jonathan's SUV arrived. He lifted Isla into her wheelchair and wheeled her over, arms crossed tight, like he already regretted being there. "Hi again," Zeke said politely. Jonathan gave a stiff nod. Isla waved shyly. "Hi, Isla." Zeke smiled. Her eyes brightened. "Hi." "How do you know her name?" Jonathan raised an eyebrow. "You said it yesterday." "I remember stuff." Zeke opened his bag, pulling out socks, a tennis ball, cocoa butter, and a container of warm rice wrapped in cloth. "What is all that?" "Stuff my mom used. The rice is for heat, helps loosen tight muscles. The ball is for pressure points." Zeke turned to Isla. "If it's okay, can I work with your legs for a little while? Nothing hurts, I promise. If anything feels weird, just say, 'Stop.'" Isla looked at her dad. He sighed. "You can try. Just be careful." Zeke knelt beside her chair, gently unwrapping the blanket and placing the warm rice pack over her thighs. "Too hot?" he asked. She shook her head. "It feels good." After a few minutes, he began gently moving her legs, not yanking or forcing, just small rotations, side to side, up and down. Jonathan watched closely, ready to intervene. "You ever do this before?" Jonathan asked suspiciously. "My mama used to take me to shelters after school. She helped veterans, folks who couldn't afford therapy. Said everybody deserves to feel human again. I used to carry her bag." "And she taught you this stuff?" "Yeah. Said the body don't always need fancy, just attention." He tapped lightly on Isla's knee. "You feel that?" "No," she whispered. "That's okay. I'll keep asking." He kept talking while working, asking about her favorite colors, food, shows. Her answers started short but grew longer as she began asking him questions. After 30 minutes, Zeke tapped her ankle. "You feel that?" Isla blinked. "A little, like pressure." Zeke looked at Jonathan. "That's good. She sometimes says that during regular sessions." "Yeah, but those sessions are inside rooms full of machines. Sometimes kids get scared of machines. They tighten up. But here," he gestured to the park, "there's air, trees. Feels different." After helping Isla stretch both legs, Zeke gave her simple movements to try. "I'll show you again next week. It takes time, but your muscles still remember how to be used. You just gotta remind them." Isla smiled bigger. "Okay." "We're not promising anything," Jonathan said quickly. "I'm not either. I'm just trying." Jonathan reached for his wallet, but Zeke stepped back. "No, sir. I don't want your money." "Then why are you doing this?" Zeke shrugged. "Because your daughter smiled." The following Sunday was warmer, but Zeke still wore his jacket, not from cold, but because it made him feel his mom was close. She used to call it his helper's coat, saying every good healer needed something to remind them why they care. At exactly noon, Jonathan's SUV arrived. Isla was grinning before it stopped. "Hi, Zeke." "Hi, Isla," he waved. Jonathan looked tired, but different, less weighed down. He gave Zeke a small nod. This time, something had shifted. Isla was trying. "Can you press your heel into the ground?" Zeke asked gently. She closed her eyes, concentrating. Nothing happened. "It's okay. Sometimes it takes your brain a while to find the right path. Like walking through a crowd. You just gotta push through." "Why do you do all this?" Jonathan asked suddenly. "Because I remember what it felt like when my mom helped people. She made them feel like they mattered. I want to do that too." Jonathan watched Isla tap her toes, barely, but they moved. The next few weekends continued. Zeke taught Isla rubber band exercises for her ankles, rolled tennis balls under her feet to help her brain remember, showed Jonathan pressure point massage techniques. Then came the bad day, the fourth Sunday. When the SUV pulled up, Isla wasn't smiling. Her eyes were red. "She doesn't want to do it today," Jonathan said sharply, lifting her into the chair. Isla refused to look at them. "I tried to move my legs this morning and nothing happened. I'm tired of trying. It's pointless." "You think I never get tired?" Zeke kneeled beside her. "You think I didn't sit in a shelter and cry when my mom couldn't afford medicine?" Her eyes shifted toward him. "You're allowed to be mad. I'm mad sometimes too. But if you stop now, the part of you that wants to walk might stop trying too." After silence, Isla whispered, "I'm scared." That was the first time she'd said it aloud. "I am too. But scared don't mean stop. It just means you're close to something big." "Okay, let's try again." They did. After 30 minutes, Isla moved her right foot. Not just a toe, her whole foot. It slid forward, slow and stiff, but it moved. Jonathan knelt beside her. "Do it again." She did. That night, Jonathan stood outside his house, staring at the moon. Inside, Isla was giggling, retelling the moment to her aunt. For the first time in months, their house felt like home again. By Saturday, Jonathan brought extra supplies and a sandwich for Zeke. During the session, Jonathan joined fully, sitting cross-legged, following Zeke's instructions. "You're bending the wrong way," Zeke grinned. "I haven't stretched since college." They all laughed. 20 minutes in, Zeke unfolded a belt, placing it under Isla's knees. "She's going to try lifting both knees. We help balance. She controls the movement." "You sure?" Jonathan asked. "She's ready." Isla's brow tightened. She grunted softly. Then her knees lifted slightly, barely an inch, but they lifted. "You did that," Jonathan said, stunned. "I did it," she smiled. After the session, Jonathan crouched beside Zeke. "Where do you go after this?" "Around." "You got a place to sleep." Zeke hesitated. "Sometimes. You ever think about staying with us for a while?" "I got a guest room." Zeke's eyes widened. "You serious?" "After what you've done for my daughter, they'd better not say a word." The next morning, Zeke stood outside Jonathan's home with a backpack and rolled blanket. "Right on time," Jonathan said, opening the door in sweatpants with a coffee mug. "Zeke." Isla ran to the hallway. "Hey, superstar," he smiled. "Welcome home," Jonathan said. The days that followed were quiet but meaningful. Zeke got his own room with a soft bed and small desk. He never missed morning stretches with Isla. She was moving both feet now, not walking yet, but progress was clear. One night, Jonathan asked, "You ever think about going back to school?" "Sometimes," Zeke replied, sketching at the kitchen table. "You're smart. You could go far." "I want to help people walk again, like my mama did." "Then let's figure out how to get you there." For the first time in years, the Reeves household wasn't full of silence. It was full of life. Word spread through a nurse who spotted Isla at the park, moving her knees and toes, standing beside the quiet kid who used to sit by hospital doors. Soon, other families arrived. A boy with a walker, a girl recovering from stroke. "You don't have to," Jonathan said quietly. "I want to," Zeke replied. He worked with the new kids, teaching parents the same techniques, talking to children. "You're not broken. You're just learning a different way to be strong." By the next weekend, 5 families showed up. The week after, 11. A pastor brought chairs. A diner dropped off bagels and coffee. Someone printed flyers. Free movement classes. Sundays at noon. Harrington Park. A reporter wrote a piece for the Birmingham Sunday Post. 9-year-old with a gift helps dozens heal in City Park. They didn't share his full name at Zeke's request, but people found out anyway. A doctor offered mentorship. A nonprofit offered funding. Someone else offered free tutoring. But Zeke never bragged. He still laid out the towel the same way, still wore the duct-taped boots, still checked on Isla first. The park that once echoed with silence had become a place of movement, and a boy with no home had become the heart of something bigger. It had been 9 Sundays when everything changed. The air was warmer, trees swayed slower, and Isla was quieter, focused, preparing for something big. When they arrived, a small crowd had formed. Zeke unpacked his bag, rolled out the towel, and looked at Isla. "You ready?" She nodded, no smile, just serious determination. "We help you stand. You do the rest," Zeke said softly. Jonathan moved behind her, hands under her arms. Zeke took her legs, guiding them gently. "On 3, Zeke whispered. She closed her eyes. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan lifted, Zeke steadied, and then she stood. Her legs trembled, arms shook, but she was up on her own feet. The crowd fell silent. Some gasped. One mother covered her mouth. Isla opened her eyes slowly. "I'm standing." "Yeah, you are." Zeke blinked back tears. Jonathan let go. She stayed up. He stepped back, shaking. "She's doing it." "She's been doing it." Zeke stepped back too. Isla took one shaky step, then another, then a third, before falling into her father's arms. He caught her, laughing and crying. "You did it. You really did it." Isla turned to Zeke. "You said I would." "I said we'd try," he grinned. That afternoon, nobody left quickly. People stayed, talked, hugged. Zeke sat on the bench, watching it all. Later that night, Jonathan stood in the kitchen while Zeke poured cereal. "You know you changed everything," he said. "Isla did," Zeke replied, not looking up. Jonathan placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "My daughter walked today, not because of a hospital or doctor or miracle drug. She walked because a kid with nothing decided to show up again and again. That's what my mom would have done. I wish she could have seen this." "She did," Zeke said softly. "I think she sees everything." Jonathan wiped his eyes. "Zeke, you're going to change a lot of lives." Zeke looked up. "I already am." There are people who might not have fancy degrees or perfect pasts, but they carry something more valuable. Heart, grit, and a reason to keep showing up. Sometimes the most broken people hold the tools to help others heal. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. And if you know a kid like Zeke or a girl like Isla, tell them, you matter, you're needed, and your time is not over.